You've probably heard of vampires, werewolves, and demons. But for every well-known monster that's made its way into movies and stories, there are countless others, buried in forgotten folklore, whispered in the dark corners of the world. These are creatures so strange, so disturbing, that even myth itself seems to want to forget them. So today, we're diving deep into the shadows to uncover disturbing mythical creatures you've probably never heard of. Watch until the end to find out about the most disturbing one, the Nuckelavee, the skinless horse demon. From the windswept Orkney Islands of Scotland comes a creature that looks like it crawled straight out of a nightmare, the Nuckelavee. It's described as a horse-like demon with the upper body of a man fused to its back. But here's the truly disturbing part. It has no skin. Its black veins pulse visibly with yellow blood, muscles exposed and glistening as if freshly flayed. The Nuckelavee is said to rise from the sea, bringing disease and death to crops and livestock wherever it roams. The stench of decay follows it, and its breath can wither plants instantly. No weapon could harm it. The only defense? Fresh water. Legend says that the Nuckelavee cannot cross a running stream, so if you ever see something crawling out of the mist with red, exposed flesh and a rider fused to its back, start running and find a river. The Adze, the vampire firefly. In the folklore of the Yu people of Ghana and Togo, there exists a creature that takes vampirism to an eerie new level, the Adze. By day, it disguises itself as a harmless firefly. But when night falls and its victim is asleep, it transforms into a shadowy humanoid form and slips through keyholes or under doors. It then drinks the victim's blood, usually children's, and spreads sickness throughout the village. The most chilling part? In human form, the odds can possess people, especially those jealous or envious of others. Villagers feared that anyone showing greed or resentment might be under the odds' control. You can't kill an odds when it's in firefly form. It's almost impossible to catch. But if captured, it reverts to human shape. And that's when you'll find out that the monster might have been your neighbor all along. The Akateko, the red hand from the tree. In Japan, there's a story of a spirit that doesn't need a full body to terrify you. It's called the Akateko, which literally means red child's hand. It appears dangling from the branches of trees, particularly red maple trees, a bright blood-red child's hand swaying gently as if beckoning you closer. Some versions say that when you walk beneath it, the hand will grab your shoulder or drop onto your head, causing paralysis or fever. Others say it's accompanied by a beautiful woman's laughter, luring travelers closer before they vanish into the forest. The Akateko doesn't scream or chase, it just hangs there, waiting. Sometimes, the simplest monsters are the most unsettling. The Pontianak, the screaming woman of the palm trees across Malaysia, Indonesia, and Singapore. People still whisper about the Pontianak, the vengeful spirit of a woman who died during childbirth. She appears as a pale, beautiful woman with long black hair and red eyes, often standing near banana or palm trees. But her beauty hides horror and a secret you don't want to uncover. The Tikbalang, the trickster horse demon. The Philippines has a creature that's part man, part beast, and entirely chaos. It's called the Tikbalang, a tall, bony creature with the head of a horse and the body of a man. The Tikbalang loves to play tricks on travelers, leading them in circles through the jungle until they're lost for days. Some say if you put your shirt on inside out, it confuses the Tikbalang and makes it let you go. Others say you can tame it, but only by jumping onto its back and tying its mane with a magical cord. But beware, once you do, it becomes your servant for life. The Krasue, the floating head. One of the most haunting images from Southeast Asian folklore is the Krasue, a floating woman's head with glowing entrails dangling beneath it. By day, she looks human, but at night, her head detaches from her body and flies through the darkness, searching for blood and flesh, often from newborns or livestock. You can hear her coming by the faint wet sound of her organs slapping together as she moves. The Krasue's curse is said to come from black magic gone wrong, or punishment for terrible sins. What's worse, if her body is ever destroyed while she's away, she's doomed to drift forever as nothing more than a hungry floating head. The Wendigo, the cannibal spirit. Among the Algonquian-speaking peoples of North America, there is a spirit of greed, hunger, and cold that embodies the very worst of humanity, the Wendigo. It begins as a person, someone who resorts to cannibalism in the frozen wilderness. But once that line is crossed, the Wendigo spirit takes hold. They become emaciated, skeletal, and endlessly hungry, their heart encased in ice. No matter how much they eat, they're never satisfied. Some legends say that the more a Wendigo consumes, the larger it grows, its appetite expanding with its body, forever starving. It's a cautionary tale about greed, hunger, and what happens when survival costs your soul. The Penanggalan, the vampire midwife. A close cousin to the Krasue, the Penanggalan is another floating vampire head, this one often masquerading as a midwife. By day, she's an ordinary woman, but at night, her head detaches, dragging her internal organs behind as she hunts for the blood of pregnant women and newborns. To protect against her, villagers would place thorny vines around their windows, hoping her organs would get tangled if she tried to enter. The next morning, she must reattach to her body before sunrise, or she'll perish. Which means, if you ever see a woman who smells faintly of vinegar, she might just be hiding something truly horrifying inside. The Kumiho, the nine-tailed fox. You've heard of the Japanese kitsune, the playful fox spirit, but the Korean Kumiho is much darker. It can shapeshift into a beautiful woman, luring men into secluded places, only to devour their livers or hearts. Some tales say that if a Kumiho refrains from killing humans for 1,000 years, it can finally become human. Others say it's all a lie, that no Kumiho can resist its hunger. Its favorite trick? Pretending to be a lost lover or a crying child, just long enough to get close enough to kill. The Grootslang, the serpent of the deep. In the caves of South Africa's Richtersveld region is said to live the Grootslang, a creature as old as the world itself. Half elephant, half snake, it was created when the gods were still learning to make animals, and accidentally gave it too much strength and cunning. When they realized their mistake, they tried to destroy it. But some escaped, and they still dwell in the earth's deepest caves, guarding piles of diamonds. Those who go searching for treasure rarely return. Some say the Grootslang doesn't terminate immediately, it stares at you with ancient knowing eyes, and waits for you to run. The Tikolosha, the invisible trickster. From Zulu mythology comes a small, mischievous, and terrifying being known as the Tikolosha. It's an invisible, imp-like creature, summoned by witches to cause chaos, sickness, nightmares, even death. The Tikolosha attacks people while they sleep, sitting on their chests and choking them, a supernatural explanation for sleep paralysis. In some stories, it's described as a hairy little goblin with glowing eyes and a twisted sense of humor. The only way to protect yourself is to raise your bed off the ground, because the Tikoloshi is too short to climb. So if you wake in the night and feel a weight pressing on your chest, maybe your bed isn't high enough. The Drekavak, the screaming ghost child. In Slavic folklore, there's a creature whose name literally means the screamer. The Drekavak is said to be the restless spirit of an unbaptized child, a being that never found peace. It wanders at night, crying like a baby one moment and shrieking like a dying animal the next. Those who hear it scream are said to die soon after. In some regions, it's described as a skeleton covered in thin, glowing skin, with unnaturally long limbs. Farmers feared it because it could predict death, especially among livestock. And if you ever see it by the river, washing tiny clothes, it means someone close to you will die before dawn. Monsters don't always live in the dark corners of our imagination. Sometimes they're born from fear of perishing, disease, hunger, or grief. Every culture has its own demons, and they tell us what people feared most at the time. But whether it's the Wendigo in the snow or the Nuckelavee rising from the sea, one thing is certain: these creatures might be mythical, but the terror they represent is very, very real. Subscribe for more terrifying lores.